Hey y'all, welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Colton, here with Brandon. 5 cards, 5 minutes, or wrapping up Attack on Titan Uncommons and Commons. Brandon, what's our first card?
First up, we have Aaron, Mr. Kruger. On play, blink, and when this card becomes reversed, if the level of your opponent's character is higher than their level, then you can send that character into your opponent's clock. You heal off their damage first and then put that character in.
It's a Clockadachi that has Blink stapled to it. There aren't a ton of times and places where Blink is as useful. Not as many things just hold cross-turn power and effects as they used to. But that effect is useful in certain matchups, plus it's a Clockadachi, right? Which is more useful than certain other kinds of early play removal, because when something goes to clock, it's a lot harder to recur, especially if you then, stick some damage over top of it and it gets buried in clock. I'm a fan of this. I think it's good. And if you're playing green, you probably tech this in as at least a one of. Next, Gene, Conversation at Sunset. It's level 1, it's red, 3000 power. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, if there is a choice CX in your climax area, you can put that character that you reversed on top of your opponent's deck. When this card becomes reversed, if this card's battle opponent is 1 or lower, you may reverse that character. So, a level 1 reverser that can send your opponent's level 1 characters to the top of their deck, where they will then realistically end up in their clock as damage. That effect only goes off when you have the choice CX down, and this is red. So, this card really only works in some kind of red-yellow salvage choice build. I don't know if that build is going to be much of a thing, but potentially useful in that deck, but basically just that deck.
I think it's interesting enough that it could actually hit level 1 standby targets with Encore and potentially remove them from field with the choice climax in play. Very situational as to making this card work to that effect. Next up, we have the new Omnidirectional Mobility gear. You do need 2 climaxes in Waiting Room in order for any of the effects to go off. You get to choose one of the 2 effects. You can choose one of your characters in battle to return it to hand, salvage a character, and then discard a card from hand. Or you choose a character in battle, move it to an open position on stage somewhere, and then salvage a character from Waiting Room. Different name from the gear from previous sets.
I would like this a whole lot more if it didn't have the climax requirement. There are going to be situations where this card is not playable at all from hand. The first of the 2 abilities is essentially a fixed 2, right? Because you lose this plus 1 more card out of your hand to save something from hand and from Waiting Room, so you fix your hand for the cost of 1. The second ability is a little bit better if you have an open slot on your board, because then you're saving a character from board to a different slot and then fixing for hand from Waiting Room. So it's either pay 1, fix 2, or pay 1, fix 1 plus 1. Either way, this is just not that good, honestly. Also only gets core characters, so if you're playing anything that is off that trait, you are out of luck, and there's stuff in the new set that doesn't run it. So I think it's too expensive for what it does, and that extra condition on it just makes it really hard to actually use in practice. AntiMarley Volunteers is a 3/2 yellow event. Reveal the top 9 cards of your deck, and then shuffle your deck. Then deal X to your opponent. X is equal to the number of choice triggers on those cards. This is very straightforward. It is a pay to burn probably 2 or 3 if you're in 8 choice. There's one deck that runs it, and you play it for main phase burn. I don't think there's a way to cheat this out and play it for free in the set, at least not one that I've seen. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Main phase burn. There you go.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there on the head. Main phase burn. Last up, we have Warhammer Titan facing the Usurper. 10,000 on attack gets power for the number of other characters you have times 500. Notably, this is on attack, and you have this until end of turn. Second ability, pay 3, ditch 1, and send a character from stage to Waiting Room to restand this at the end of the card's attack. Essentially, it's a restander that can get power on attack twice, so it could be up to 14,000 power on the second swing. So it's a little more on the expensive side, but it doesn't require a climax combo to restand. Definitely an interesting off finisher with blue.
It's very straightforward. It technically can get to pretty good power numbers, because it does gain that power again the second time it attacks. So with some support, it can get up to 16, 17, actually get over something. Realistically, this is your last swing of the game. I don't think this is bad, and I think this will show up in any deck that's running blue potentially, probably as a one of. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back on Tuesday. Brandon will have a deck tech. We'll have gameplay for that deck the following Thursday. Clock Talk the following Tuesday. We're talking about Chicago, and then in 2 weeks, more 5 cards, 5 minutes. We're talking about, I think, Hololive Premium. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.
We'll see you then.